With that being said now, guys, we're going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris, and to some extent we will be biting it up.
I missed my, I was like, what are we going to do?
I know, but you took it. There we go.
I'm usually way more on, but...
It's hot today.
It's hot here.
So, so here's the thing. Like, and this is like the second time Tulsi Gabbard has done this, but I understand the point that's being made. And look, I have my criticisms of Joe Biden. I feel that he is a hypocrite, a fraud, a plagiarist. I believe if not, his actions are very questionable. Tell us what you
really think, Kit.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think Joe Biden is a fraud candidate. I think he's a liar, and so Tulsi Gabbard.
I think he's just to interject. I think he's just from the old school of doing things, where he thinks things aren't going to get found out. He just says what there is to say to appease whomever he's in front of. He's just from the old school, and it's clear in some of the things that he'd been bragging about inside of working with segregationists. So go on, sorry.
Right. So Tulsi Gabbard made a point in weighing in on some of the controversy surrounding Joe Biden, saying he's being unfairly smeared. So she wrote to Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris, Joe Biden did not celebrate or coddle segregationists. His critics have unfairly misrepresented his important message to some cheap political points. I agree with Clyburn and Joe Biden. In order for Congress and a president to get things done for the American people, there needs to be civility in Washington and the country. The ability to work with those who we disagree, even those who hold some views we abhor. In Congress to work for the American people, we need to find common ground with each other. That is not possible without civility. We don't need another president who's going to continue to divide our country. We need a president who will continue to unite us. United we stand, divided we fall. Now, that's something that Tulsi Gabbard said a while back. And then this week, Gabbard also quote tweeted David Axelrod questioning Kamala Harris' positioning on busing, giving that big moment with Biden at the debate. It was a false accusation that Joe Biden is a racist. During the debate, Harris told Biden, I do not believe you are racist, but I also believe that it's personal, and it was actually hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on segregation of race in this country. She went on to rip, Kamala Harris went on to rip Biden on busing and the issues. So here's the thing about that. Kamala Harris has also said in the past that Joe Biden is her good friend, and that she has loved working with Biden in the past. And also Kamala Harris has also, as Secretary of California, not Secretary, Attorney General of California, she supported a lot of legislation and harmful laws that impacted a lot of working class families, specifically in the African American and Latina X communities. And so here you have Tulsi Gabbard saying, well, you're speaking out of both sides of your mouth, Kamala Harris. I mean, granted, there's a lot to be critical of Biden. He's somebody who's unapologetic for his past actions, and I get that there should be some civility in government, but at the same time too, Tulsi Gabbard, please don't defend Biden. He's somebody who will stab you in the back. I get her message.
It's really interesting, and I have a few opinions on this, because there's a part of me that hears what Tulsi is saying. I hear what she's saying.
Yeah.
And then
I just don't think she should be defended.
There's a really cynical part of me.
Yeah.
That as I was reading that story, I was thinking, well, of course she's coming out in defense in this way, because, well, gosh, there's so much to this. First of all, she gets mischaracterized around a lot of stuff
ever since she entered the race.
And so I think there's a piece of her that's extremely sympathetic to what Joe Biden is dealing with right now, because he's getting characterized as a thing that he probably full force isn't.
No, I don't think.
Right, and he's getting called that.
I think he's a pleasant racist. That's how I would say. Like maybe someone.
I think he's just a racist that doesn't realize he's a racist. Like my mom. Oh God, I hope she's not watching. I think that he's just that guy, and like for me, those people are all over in my life, and I make peace with those people, and there are certain things that I speak up about, and then there are certain things I just gotta leave alone, just because of the nature of like who is in my family, who is in my in close relationship with me. So I feel like Tulsi sympathizes with what's going on in this situation, and I think she might be speaking up for somewhat political reasons, because it easily happens that people get mischaracterized when they say a thing, and then that soundbite gets blown up and all of that. And Tulsi's got some not so great stuff in her past. One of them being mischaracterized, like her visit with Assad, which I thought was highly mischaracterized. But then also her past with the LGBTQ community and how that was the biggest issue with her when she first came on the scene. And when I got an opportunity to really look at that story and make my own assessment of whether or not Tulsi Gabbard is a gay hater, I decided no, people are able to change.
People are changed,
and people are able to shift and progress, but we don't see Joe Biden doing that.
No,
and so it's kind of murky, and it's really interesting that she's taking that stance, and I think she's taking it because she's feeling, in a way, sympathy, but also feeling like it could in some way maybe protect her in the future.
Right, and also, again, even with like Kamala Harris, like she's, when she went after Biden during the June 27th debate.
Yeah.
If you look at Kamala Harris's record, it's just as questionable. And again, she had a very good working relationship with Joe Biden way early on, to where she even said, so the thing is, like, Joe Biden's history isn't anything new. It's just because of the power of the internet, because we have the Library of Alexandria here, we're able to look up all our political leaders' past history and their voting record, and you just can't say, well, I didn't know Joe Biden was like this, especially if you're part of the same political party, and you know the same people, you take the same kind of corporate donations. You kind of know about one person's history over the other.
That's what's dangerous about it. Then she's able to get up on the stage and she's able to say all these disparaging things about her former buddy.
Yeah, about her friend. And mind you, there's a picture of them. We actually posted a picture of this on our Instagram account where Biden and Kamala Harris are there smiling together, taking a photo. So they're friends. And that whole song and dance, I get what she was trying to say, but if it was somebody else than Kamala Harris, then I would say, okay, it's more believable. But then again,
I didn't think Kamala Harris was believable throughout the entire debate. I have to say,
for the night, it helped her get more recognition.
For the night, it helped her get more recognition. But I just thought so much of what she said was so canned, and I am. I tend to want to like everybody. It's in my nature. I want to like everybody. So I walk into these debates just thinking like, okay, I'm ready to like everybody on this debate stage, right? And so much about what Kamala Harris did just got under my skin, mostly because I was on the speech team for many, many years, and the way that she speaks and the way that she spoke that night was so canned and so rehearsed, and something that she knew she was going to say and something she knew she was going to go after. And it came off as this really like, I'm very hurt and sincere kind of a way. And I agree with you, because if you were really that hurt about who Joe Biden was,
you wouldn't be associated with him. Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like, again, you pointed to it, she's speaking out of two sides of her mouth, where she says, I'm highly offended. Right. But, let's go get cocktails after the debate. Well, she didn't say that, but,
Now, here's the thing with Tulsi Gabbard, because she's getting heat from a lot of people, too, because this is the second time she's actually did somewhat of a defense of Biden. I'd say Tulsi Gabbard is not a defender of Biden. Tulsi Gabbard is running her own campaign. It's just, like you mentioned earlier, she is defending, she's acknowledging something that's happened to her since day one, since she entered into this race. And, here's a sad fact about the U.S. political system is that you're going to have to work with people, both Democrat and Republican, who are part of the neoliberal, neocon political machine that disagree with you on probably a lot of things. Like, for example, most of our elected officials are bought and sold by Wall Street, the big banks, corporations, and the military-industrial complex, both Democratic and Republican leaders in the establishment. So you have no choice but to work with them, unfortunately. And a lot of those candidates, a lot of those political leaders have really terrible points of views. Let's take for a case in point Dan Lipinski, who is a Democrat.
Yes.
Anti-LGBTQ, clearly anti-LGBTQ, anti-choice, and he's a Democrat.
And he votes with Trump, I think it's like 94% of the time.
And he's a Democrat. And yet the DCCC has gone on the record that they want to support all the incumbents. And guess who Dan Lipinski is? He's an incumbent. But then you have the Democratic Party saying that we're for women's rights and women's reproductive rights and their choices. We're standing with the LGBTQ community. Then why are you supporting a guy that's going to vote for Trump just because he has a D in front of his name? So Tulsi Gabbard is correct that you are going to have to be working with a lot of people in Congress that are really different than you and have different points of view and will probably make you sick to your stomach even working with them. But that's a system we have, and it also lies on the shoulders of the American people to step up and get involved and to get money out of politics. Mm-hmm. So I understand what Tulsi Gabbard is trying to say and do. I just... Biden isn't the person you want to defend, but I get her position. Of what it's a correct message. It's just somebody like Biden. Somebody even mentioned in the chat that Biden is an institutional. Okay, Wesley Wiles. Biden is an institutional racist, but definitely not a neo-Nazi. Still, he's toxic. Tulsi should steer clear of Biden, but this could help get some attention she otherwise would not have gotten.
That was my other thought. Was being in a space that nobody else is in. That space of defending Joe Biden might actually boost her name recognition as well. That's a possibility.
And then also, unknown space pioneer. Tulsi is very empathetic. Her civility is coming from her heart, and it might work against her. But on the other hand, I feel she wouldn't be comfortable capitalizing on fake BS of Harris and Booker. Absolutely.
I agree.
And then Teresa, 78201. The one camera setup is working out. Okay. Thank you so much, because honestly, I'm manning the board. Daniel's not here. Paul is not here. It's only me and Kira, so we're doing the best we can. So there we go. And then Schultz 100, I see that you're leaving. So thank you for joining this the live stream chat. We hopefully get to come back very soon. And then I think any other final notes that we should say about Tulsi Gabbard?
I just enjoy her earnestness.
Yeah.
Because I don't think even though what she's saying is correct.
All right.
Like a lot of candidates wouldn't do that. Wouldn't be as earnest as she is, and I think there's a lot of earnestness in what she did there.
Yeah, and so Tulsi Gabbard is correct in at least calling out the fake BS, but
Biden, we don't need to get over the top. We don't need to get hyperbolic with what's going on when the facts are right there, and the facts are enough. We don't need to call Biden a racist segregationist. We can just look at his record and say, okay, this isn't the candidate for me.
And again, imagine if it's a showdown between Biden and Trump. You have one polite racist and you have an upfront racist. So there you go. You have those two individuals, and so
I don't even want to imagine a Trump and Biden debate. I don't want to.
How about this? Ending this on a high note. Imagine a Bernie Sanders Trump debate.
I would love to imagine
a Tulsi Gabbard Trump debate, and Tulsi Gabbard knocks him out on the ground. Knocks him out.
Oh my God! The amount of commentary Trump would make on her looks is.
I think honestly, because here's the thing, Trump wouldn't know what to do with somebody like Tulsi Gabbard, and even Fox News. Like, before we do move on, even Fox News did a story to where they were saying, like, look, if it was an opinion piece, if Tulsi Gabbard were to go up against Trump would have a very hard time. Tulsi Gabbard is not Hillary Clinton, and Tulsi Gabbard, to her credit, is actually doing something that the Democratic establishment wishes they can do, and that is she is getting some support from conservatives, Republicans, and libertarians. Of course, she's got support on the left from Democratic Socialists, Independent Democrats, liberals, and all that in between. But she's able to build a coalition, and imagine going up against Trump like that. Like, Trump doesn't have that coalition. And Tulsi Gabbard has a much more clear voting record than Trump. Trump is a hypocrite. So kudos to her, but I mean, she should, I don't know, don't waste your time on defending Biden, though. So now moving on.
Kit's advice.
My advice. And also,
Tulsi.
yes, and also we would like to interview you as well. So there we go.